Stop waiting. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect energy. Because the truth is simple, and it's not comfortable. Motivation is unreliable. It comes when it wants. It leaves when it wants. And if your life depends on it, you will stay exactly where you are. Most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait to feel different. And while they wait, time keeps moving. Nothing changes. That's why discipline matters. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't check your mood. It doesn't negotiate with your excuses. It simply says one thing: do what needs to be done, no matter what. And that is where your life changes. Because the moment you stop depending on feelings and start depending on standards, you take control. Think about it. If you only worked when you felt motivated, how often would you actually show up? Some days, yes. Most days, no. And those no days are exactly what destroy your progress. Because success isn't built in perfect moments. It's built in the moments you don't feel like doing anything, but you do it anyway. That's discipline. That's power. That's what separates people who talk from people who actually build something real. You don't need motivation to wake up. You don't need motivation to train. You don't need motivation to work. You need discipline. Because discipline is what creates consistency. And consistency is what creates results. Without it, everything falls apart. You start something, you stop. You try again, you stop again. You get excited, then you lose momentum. And you repeat that cycle for years. Not because you're weak, but because you never built discipline. You relied on motivation, and motivation will always fail you. Because it's a feeling, and feelings change. But discipline, that's a decision you make every single day. A decision to show up, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when everything inside you says, do it tomorrow. That voice, that lazy voice, that voice that tells you to rest, delay, avoid, everyone has it. The difference is, disciplined people don't listen to it. They hear it, but they ignore it. Because they know something most people don't. They know that voice leads nowhere. It keeps you comfortable. It keeps you average. It keeps you stuck. And if you keep listening to it, you will never become who you want to be. Because growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from doing what's uncomfortable, over and over again. That's where discipline is built. Not when things are easy, but when they're hard, when your body is tired, when your mind is resisting, when you don't feel like doing anything, and you still choose to act. That moment right there, that's where you win. Not in the results, not in the outcome, but in the decision to move forward anyway. Because once you master that, everything changes. Your habits change, your mindset changes, your confidence changes, your identity changes. You stop being the person who starts and stops, and you become the person who finishes. And that alone puts you ahead of most people. But here's something even more important. Discipline gives you freedom, not restriction, not pressure, freedom. Because when you are disciplined, you are no longer controlled by your emotions. You are no longer controlled by your mood. You are no longer controlled by your excuses. You are in control. And that is real freedom. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Freedom is doing what needs to be done, without being controlled by how you feel. And once you understand that, you stop looking for easy. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop looking for motivation, and you start building something real. But there's another level to this, and most people avoid it. Taking full responsibility. No excuse. No blaming. No pointing at circumstances. No saying it's because of this or because of them. Because the truth is, if your life is not where you want it to be, it's on you. And that's not easy to accept. It hurts. It challenges your ego. It forces you to look at yourself honestly. But it's also the most powerful realization you can have. Because the moment you take ownership, you take control. And when you take control, you can change anything. But if you keep making excuses, you stay stuck. Because excuses feel good in the moment. They protect your ego. They make you feel better about not doing what you should have done. But they destroy your future. Every excuse you accept is a step away from your goals. Every excuse you believe is a reason you don't grow. So you have to make a choice, a real one. Not just words, not just thoughts, a decision. Are you going to continue living based on how you feel? Or are you going to live based on standards? Because those are two completely different lives. One is easy, comfortable, predictable. The other is hard, challenging, but powerful. And that second life, that's where everything you want exists. But you don't get there by waiting. You don't get there by hoping. You don't get there by feeling ready. You get there by doing the work. Every day, no matter what. And yes, there will be bad days. Days where nothing feels right. Days where you don't perform your best. Days where you struggle. That's normal. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is great every single day. But that's not the goal. The goal is consistency. The goal is showing up anyway. Because even on your worst days, if you keep moving forward, you're still ahead. And over time, that adds up. That's how progress is made. Not through perfection, but through persistence. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop looking for motivation. And start building discipline. Because once you do, everything changes. Not instantly, but permanently. And that's what matters.